Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick Wallace here. For those that will actually get to see uh, this short video live, great. Those who will watch it at some point in the future, what I'm going to tell you is pretty much evergreen. It's going to apply no matter what time or season you hear it in. It's extremely important. First and foremost, I want to thank all of those who have applied for the free uh, business breakthrough sessions and the free rapid change personal sessions that we're currently offering at the Visionetics Institute. So far, the first week was off the chain. It was more people. You have been more responsive than I initially thought. I'm excited about that. Also, some people made some life-changing commitments over this past week, so I'm excited about that. Those of you that have chosen to work with me beyond that, I'm looking forward to what lies ahead, but I'm looking forward to cranking it up even more. If you are interested in either, I don't have the business breakthrough uh, uh, questionnaire on here. I have the rapid change breakthrough, but if you would like to do a business version of that where it's a greater focus on growing your business, expanding your business, or starting a business, simply email the email address that's on that questionnaire that's attached, and I will or someone, depending, I think that's the support. So someone on the support team will get back with you, and eventually you'll hear from me. With that being said, I'm going to move on. I'm excited about it. Also, I think there's something in there about the sweepstakes for the book that's coming next month. There's a sweepstakes now, and you can actually qualify for an entire course with yours truly. If you you pre-order the book, you automatically enter into a sweepstakes. Okay. With that being said and done, let's talk for a minute. I'm going to try to keep this short and to the point, but you know me. I talk about this a lot because it's so important to change, growth, development, and really truly tapping into your potential holistically. The problem is the vast majority of people on this planet never even come close to tapping into the totality of what they have inside of them in the way of potential and capacity. A lot of it is because of limiting beliefs. A lot of it is because the culture trains them to settle into being average, being mediocrity, being mediocre. We live in a culture where being average is acceptable. If you're average, then that's where you pretty much want to be, unless you're somebody that wants more. And that shouldn't be the case. Everybody should be reaching to be the best them they could be, not trying to be like someone else, not trying to fulfill someone else's expectations of them, not being defined by what someone else defines as success, but finding themselves and pursuing their passion and tapping into their destiny, their purpose, their passion at the highest possible levels. The problem is we are trained to focus on things that work against us when we are trying to do it, even for people who are trying to get more out of life. And you're wondering, why do I keep banging my head against the wall? Why do I keep ending up back here? Well, one of the things that I can tell you that is extremely important is what you focus on. If you're focusing on the things you're trying to move away from, if you're focusing on the failures, if you're focusing on what's bad in your life, you're going to perpetuate it, and you may not understand how that works. Saying I don't want it doesn't change the fact that you're focusing on it. And your brain only knows that you're focusing on it, not that you don't want it. It can't interpret that part. Let me explain it to you in a little bit more detail. You have to see your brain as a mechanism. It's simply a material mechanism with some unbelievable capabilities. It has the capacity to process 400 billion bits of information per second, better than more powerful and faster than any supercomputer on the planet. It's that good. It can do some unbelievable thing. It also, the non-conscious brain and the subconscious mind control over 85 to 90% of all of your behavior. All of your behavior is programmed and automated. Most of the things you do are not conscious decisions. You do them automatically. You do them instinctively, and and that instinctive behavior is actually being handled by your non-conscious brain and your subconscious mind. So it's extremely important to understand just how powerful your non-conscious brain and your subconscious mind is. Here's the thing. You have the supercomputer, which is the biological, neurological dynamic of your thinking and all of that, which is the brain. Then you have the mind, which is immaterial. It exists within the soul. It's not something you can touch, but it's the conscious and the subconscious. Here's the thing. See your brain as a supercomputer with a search engine, and what your brain will do is find what you tell it, either by consciously speaking it, consciously thinking it, or by giving a great deal of attention to it. And as a matter of fact, what you give the most attention to carries the greatest gravity. If you spend a lot of time focusing on something, it has gravity. Now, here's the thing. Your thoughts, your words, and your focuses become strings of keywords. Just if you were to go to Google or go to Bing or go to Yahoo and to enter into the search engine something you're looking for, if you go to any site, they all have some sort of search engine on them now. If you go and you enter it in, what you enter in is what you get back. If you go to Google right now and say, show me all the reasons why I will fail at business, Google is not going to say, okay, here are the reasons why you will fail, and here's the reasons why businesses succeed. It's only going to show you why you're going to fail. And if all you do is keep asking for the wrong answer or keep focusing on the wrong answer every time you enter, that's a part of the neurological makeup of the nervous system in the brain called the RAS, the reticular activating system. It's extremely important, extremely powerful. It is what filters all of the information and stimuli and knowledge and stuff that's going on every given second that you can't possibly process on your own. While your non-conscious brain can process 400 billion bits per second, bits of information per second, your conscious brain and your conscious mind can only process 2,000. So you can see there's this big gap of what the non-conscious is dealing with versus what the conscious is dealing with. The way the conscious is able to manage and stay, from losing, you're not going crazy trying to process all this, is because the reticular activating system is literally filtering out the things that don't matter, filtering out the things that you have not indicated are a priority to you, filtering out things that at that moment have no meaning. It automatically prioritizes. It knows what's most important in what situation, and it doesn't take it time to think about it. It simply knows. When you pull up to the red light, something that was more important before you got to that red light than seeing that red light and then being safe at that red light and not leaving until that light turns green becomes secondary, and that light becomes priority without you ever having to consciously think it. The reticular activating system handles it for you. Well, here's the problem. When you start talking about what you don't have, when you start talking about why your marriage sucks, when you keep talking about how you never can keep money, how you're not good with money, how you don't know anything about starting a business, you can't start a business, you will never be a good business owner. Whatever it is that you want to do or you want to exceed and excel at, but you are talking the negative side of it consistently, you are literally putting in these keyword strings into your brain that this is what I am and this is who I am. Go find out everything you can to promote this. Whatever it is you talk about. Have you ever sit up and had an intense argument with someone about something, and you have one position, they have another position, and all of a sudden you log on to Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and you're strolling down your news feed and you see all of the arguments that support what you were just saying? If you slow down long enough and clear your head and think, you'll also find their sides of the arguments too, because it's always two sides and there's always information that supports any argument on the internet. But what you focus on, what is most important to you, is what your brain will find. Now, the problem is saying, I'm tired of being poor, I'm tired of being broke, I'm tired of this broken marriage, I'm tired of not getting everything out of my marriage, I'm tired of not being what I want to be as a parent, I'm tired of whatever it is, I can't do this, I can't do this. You're literally, first of all, solidifying and stapling in an idea in your mind that's going to determine how your mind views the world. When you say you can't, I can't is a statement of helplessness. It automatically trains you into victimhood. The moment you say I can't, you automatically give power to something else outside of yourself. And so at that particular point in time, you now view life as if something is happening to you, or the world or life is happening to you out of your control, and you're simply hoping things fall into place. So you spend your life waiting on things to come out, waiting on the right opportunity, waiting on somebody to recognize your talent, waiting on somebody to come teach you what you should know in order for you to do this. All of that's actually on you. But as long as you are saying, I can't, as long as you are sitting up saying that it's out of your control, which is what I can't means, it means that somebody else has to do it, or somebody has to help me do it, or it can't simply be done, then you're sitting up and you're telling yourself, something else has happened, and you're waiting on someone else to do it for you, and that's no one else's responsibility but yourself. But when you sit up and say, I know I can, I don't care how bad it is right now, I'm built for this situation. It's tough, it doesn't feel. Let me explain something to you. If you're looking for comfort, you can't be looking for excellence. You can't be looking for greatness. You can't be looking for the phenomenal. Not if you're looking for comfort. They don't exist simultaneously, and they don't exist in the same spectrum at the same time. Those searching for comfort find mediocrity. Those two exist, they coexist. But the moment you set out in life to become something greater than what you are now, regardless of what that is, and everybody should be aspiring to something greater than what they are now. But when you aspire to aspire, you are going to find out right off the bat, discomfort comes with it. Why? Because the moment you desire to change, you take yourself out of what you know. See, I can't become this without entering into a new world of things I don't know. I can't be the smartest person in the room learning a new thing. So I immediately, consistently, I'm moving in something that I'm not as good at as I was in the thing before. And so that's a steady move through discomfort, but you're progressing. You will look up a year from now, and while it was uncomfortable, you are miles ahead of where you started a year ago because you were willing to proceed and move through it. But you start with, I can. You start with, I must. It's an absolute requirement that I cannot be a part of your vocabulary. You can never believe can't applies to you. The moment you allow it to apply, you become helpless. Somebody else has to do it. Somebody has to help you do it. Somebody has to show you how to do it, or somebody has to give you permission. That I can't will lock you into a situation of perpetual failure in whatever area it is you believe you cannot have an influence on changing. The one thing that you can definitely do is change your situation, but you've got to be willing to go the distance. You've got to be willing to sit up and say, you know what? I'm not happy with where I'm at right now. I'm not happy with what I'm doing. I'm not happy with what I'm producing. I'm not happy with the level of life I'm living at. I'm not happy with how my marriage is going. I'm not happy with the way this business thing is going. I'm not happy with my finances. I'm not happy with where I'm living at. Wherever it is, if it's a situation where you're not happy with it, you have control over it. There's no such thing as you're stuck in it. There's no such thing as suffering is your lot in life. Poverty is your lot in life. Failed relationships are your lot in life. That's not given. That's something you accept, something somebody else pushes on you and you believe. You've got to learn how to focus on what you want and not what's going wrong. The more you focus on what's going wrong, the more you perpetuate that reality. You've got to sit up and understand life exists on extremes. So if I want to get away from poverty, I focus on wealth. I don't focus on the poverty. I don't focus on the lack. I focus on what it is going to take to build wealth. And I understand I can't start at the end because I don't have the means. So I'm going to start with saving a penny a day. I'm going to start with investing 50 cents in this. I'm going to start with taking $10 from here. I'm going to move up to 10% invested here. I'm going to find what I need to do to grow it. It's not going to happen overnight. So I'm not trying to get rich quick. What I'm trying to do is build something that over time doesn't reflect where I'm at right now. I'm trying to grow into something greater than where I'm at right now, but it requires me to get my mind off of where I'm at and start focusing on where I'm going. Have you ever tried to sit up and get somewhere while looking at where you're at instead of where you're going? That's what happens when you decide that I'm going to just keep talking about what's wrong. That means you're trying to go somewhere without focusing on where you're going. You're going to end up right here because that's where your focus is. Saying I don't like it, I don't want it, it makes me sick, I'm miserable, doesn't change the fact that that's what you keep telling your brain is important. So poverty is important to you, huh? I got a bunch of stuff to show you that'll keep, yeah. And you'll look up and you're perpetuating the behavior that holds you where you're at because your subconscious mind and your non-conscious brain is controlling your behavior. What you train yourself, I posted this the other day. If you don't purposely and intentionally train yourself to be what it is you want to be and to get what it is you want out of life, you will be trained by the culture. You are going to be trained. You're going to be conditioned. You're going to have information inculcated into your psyche, into your mind, into your brain, into your expectations. The difference is when you take control of it, you control what you're getting, how you're training yourself, what you're setting your expectations on. When you allow the culture to train you, the culture trains you on what's best for the culture. And we are trained in a culture that the vast majority need to remain average so that the highly elite can continue to live the lives they're living. That's purposely done, not just in one racial caste system, but overall. There is a need to keep the vast majority of the people in this country and on this planet in a place of mediocrity or subservient to that, so that others can live a certain life. And the information you're consistently being fed. That's why you have a public education system that's built on standardization. You can never get the maximum out of a person when you're expecting all of them to do the same thing, the same way, the same time, at the same rate. They're not built that way. Somebody is a creative thinker. Somebody is a lateral thinker. Somebody is a critical thinker. Somebody's good with math. Somebody's good with rhythm. Somebody's good with abstract art. Somebody's good with rhythm and rhyme. Everybody's different. Everybody learns at a different pace. Everybody has a different passion. But we aren't coaching and teaching to passion. We aren't coaching and teaching to the uniqueness of someone's genius. We're not coaching. We are trying to fit everybody in the same box. Why? Because they're easier to control that. We have been trained so well by the culture that when somebody aspires to leave the box, we immediately put them back in their place. We will rapidly pull out, you think you're better than everybody else. We will rapidly pull out, you can't do it that way. We will rapidly and quickly pull out, you're not special, you're not better. Anybody aspiring to get out of the box is viewed by those who are comfortable in the box as the enemy. That's being trained by the culture. But when you decide what you're going to focus on, when you decide what you're going to demand of yourself, when you decide to set your expectations higher than what they are right now, you start to see things differently. You start to behave differently. I tell people all the time. As a matter of fact, I had this conversation about a certain situation that was going on the internet about a certain person who caters to the emotions of a certain group and benefits from it. And the argument was, my whole thing was, when you truly are looking to empower a person, you can empower the person without ever attacking anyone else. You don't have to make someone else look small to help a person look big when you're truly trying to help them heal, when you're truly trying to help them grow, when you're truly trying to help them expand themselves. All of that comes from within. It doesn't matter who's around them. It doesn't matter how high someone is or how low someone is around them. When they're focused on them, when they develop an understanding of their value, when they develop an understanding of just how much they're worth, I don't have to tell them what they shouldn't be taking from somebody else. I don't have to tell them what type of behavior is not worthy of their attention. The moment I set in your mind who you are and the value you have, your value and your worthiness will automatically dictate what you expect from life and what you're willing to accept from others. It's automatic. I don't have to tell you your behavior. I just have to get you to see who you are. So that's the thing you have to look at. It's not the situation you're in. Yeah, you might be having some struggles right now financially. That doesn't mean you're broke. That doesn't mean you're poor. That means you have a cash situation. When you change your mindset, you'll find there's some people out there you think are just strapped and loaded right now that are having cash issues, but the difference is they see themselves as wealthy. They won't use the word broke. They're definitely not going to use the word poor. And they're not going to use the word lack. They'll tell you, I'm having a cash flow issue. I'm cash strapped right now. But you will find that they're still moving. They're still operating. They're still finding ways to make things happen. It happens. It's not the resources that you have that are going to determine how successful you are in life, period, anyway. It's your resourcefulness. Meaning that if I don't have everything I need, I'll find it. I'll get it. I'll create it. I'll make it. I'll come up with something new. I'll find a new way to do it. But if I set my mind on having it, you better best believe it's coming. I'm going to get it or I'm going to die trying. That's how you succeed. Not by having everything laid out for you. Not by getting everybody to tell you, yeah, you're good enough to do it. Stop allowing the random opinions of others, the minimum-minded, to define you. Stop listening to the sweet nothings of negativity that the minimum-minded are attempting to whisper in your ear. Stop listening to the negative feedback coming back, telling you what other people are saying about you. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Because, again, you've got to see the brain as the best search engine ever. Makes Google look like kindergarten. If you tell it what you want, if you tell it what's important by focusing on something and constantly harping at it, that's why you got people, you don't see people that no matter what's going on, they'll find a reason to be mad. I mean, it could be, you got, and then I'm gonna tell you one you see on social media a lot. No matter how good the news is, they'll find something wrong with it, something negative with it. Why it's not as good as it seems. They are the negative people. They are trained and locked in to find what's wrong, what's negative. That's how they're built. So they spend their lives miserable. Then the other person can always find why somehow someone or something has offended them. So they're always angry. They'll find an offense in everything, and they will stay angry. And you'll be going, how can someone always be angry? They've trained themselves. Matter of fact, they're comfortable in that anger. They have found a way to associate and associate their anger with strength. You got a bunch of people that are very hostile and mean, and they think that equates to strength because that's how they train themselves. So they will go out of their way to be mean. And they don't realize that the energy you create is what's going to attract things to you. See, energy is resonant. It resonates with other energy, and it can only resonate with like energy. You can't attract anything you're not putting out. That's how life works. That ensures that you get what you pretty much deserve. And you might think, well, I didn't deserve to be treated. If you don't take control of your life, if you don't set the standards by which you engage life, you may not be a mean person, and you may not be treating people, but you're not giving life what is demanded of you by your design. The Almighty designs you, whether you want to call it God, the Almighty, the infinite intelligence, or the universe, whatever you want to call it. There's a design, there's a purpose. There's too much specificity and order in all of this chaos that stays and works and goes each and every day just so we can breathe and live. But if it were to switch in the slightest degree to the right or the left, life as we know it would end. And yet billions of years, here we are still chugging along. There is order here. Now, the thing is, if there is order and I have a design, if I have a design, I automatically have a purpose. If I have a purpose, that purpose is associated with an ultimate end, which you call your destiny. And then in that, you find your passion. But let me explain something. If you're not living to the fullness of the design, you're failing the designer. Did you hear what I said? If you're not optimizing your design, if you're not living at the fullness of the potential that rests in your DNA, you have failed your designer. You should be demanding so much of yourself. As Stephen Furtick says, if the vision you have for your life isn't so huge that it intimidates you, it's a good chance it's insulting God. I live by that. If I'm setting goals just so that they seem realistic and that nobody's going to scoff at them when they say, if I tell you what I'm dreaming about or what my vision is about, and you say, well, man, I can see that. Shit, I've got to go back to the drawing board because you ain't supposed to be able to see it. It's mine. I'm supposed to make you feel like, man, this dude's tripping. but I ain't gonna bet against him because I've seen him in the past. But that's pretty far out there, dude. But the thing is, we've been trained to dwarf our goals, to draft and engage colorless dreams, to have these minute visions that fit into the realm of what others call realistic. And we tend to just wander around through the maze of mediocrity and never really truly ascending to the greatness that is associated with our design. There is a giftedness, a genius, a talent, and a power in you. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what you've been through, how many times you failed in the past, how life sucked in the past. There's something in you that demands greatness come out of you, and you've got to honor that. That's what's that's that hole you've been filling. That's that thing you've been fighting. That's that thing you can't shake. But you got to change your focus. You're focusing on the problem. And in focusing on the problem, you're magnifying the problem, and you're giving the problem more power than it deserves. Focus on the solution. Focus on where you're going. Focus on what's possible. Focus on what you're capable of. Start living in the possibilities of your life instead of living in the event that took place 10 years ago that you identified with and refused to leave. Yeah, there's some of y'all living in events that happened 20 years ago. You identified with it so much you couldn't shake it. You still talk about it as if it was yesterday. It hasn't properly been filed away and categorized as a part of your past. It's still dwelling and living in your present and impacting your future. Let it be where it should be. Take what you need to take from it, file it away. It has no purpose or no power or no plan in your future. Look at what you're capable of. Look at the unbelievable, unbridled power of your brain and of your mind, and understand that you can set the course of your life starting today. But you got to change your focus. Some of y'all, let's keep it real. See, that's where it starts at. It starts at with being honest with yourself. There's some of you out there that would rather be where you're at right now because at least you get sympathy. It's some of y'all that know how awesome you are, but you throttle back because the more you thrive to rise, the less friends, the smaller the circle, the less attention, the more hatred you seem to engage. People think she thinks she or he thinks he's better than everybody else. You all that now, huh? Or whatever. And you start to realize the people that used to hang it with you, kick it with you, cut with you, and do all that with you, not kind of looking at your side eye. Why? Because your expectations for your life is convicting them of their mediocrity. Yeah, you making them uncomfortable. Yeah, they gonna say things about you. Why? Because their whole valid excuse for being mediocre is there's no way out. And because you come from where they come from, because you've been through what they've been through. When you start to rise, you immediately convict them that the excuse they're using is a lie, and they're just sitting there because they're scared to do anything about it. So yeah, they're gonna attack you. They're gonna do everything they can to reel you back in and make themselves comfortable. Some of you are sitting there right now, know you got something in you, but want to hang around with people that are holding you back. You better let them go. If they don't have anything to give, if they are not aspiring to something similar to what you're aspiring to, or if they haven't achieved it already, or if they're not looking at you to give them some incentive and some inspiration, and they're just happy where they're at, they don't belong in your periphery. They don't belong in your immediate circle. You've got to prune and purge your circle repeatedly, excuse me. This is what I can tell you. Your circle is going to constantly change as you evolve, as you grow, As you advance, your circle is going to change. It's going to have some people coming in. There will maybe one or two, maybe three people outside of relatives that are going to be constantly in your circle. Those are going to be your confidants, your friends, your true friends, the ones that they're with you no matter what, that's going to cut with you, go to jail with you. You get addicted, they're going to be right there in that room with you, fighting through that with you. They're going to go whatever goes bad, they'll be there with you the same way it is when it's good. But the other people that are coming through, they're either there with you because y'all got something in common right now, or y'all going through the same struggle right now. They can identify with you in some way, but they are not really cutting for you. They don't identify with you. You just happen to be beneficial to them at the time. You got to be able to recognize that some people will come along, and you got to create a mutually beneficial situation in order to maintain your balance and not be drained. Because if you got people in your life and all they're there to do is suck life out of you and they're bringing nothing to the table, they will drain you. There has to be some mutual benefit to them being in your life. It may not be the same benefit. It may not be a financial benefit. That's fine. But they should be somebody that can walk up to you and just tell you some days you're awesome. That day you're really having a rough day, you're awesome. Or you got this. You've been through work. Somebody that knows your strength and is willing to celebrate that strength with you when you need it most. They got to have something they bring into the table, or they don't belong there. And then you got to understand that in a time, because they are not truly your confidant and friend, that ace that you have, that they're going to move on. And you got to be okay with that. That's life. You're not going to have 30 people in your life and all of them really, truly, truly your friend. Stop it. Some of the people you hung around with last week done talked behind your back 3 or 4 or 5 times with other people already. It ain't even been a week. Some people you done shared stuff with that was supposed to be between you and them. They done already shared it with 4 or 5 other people. Stop expecting everybody to have your best interest at heart. Start understanding that having a true friend is a rarity. Learn how to distinguish them. You'll know them because they'll be happy for you, even when they're going through something. You want to test your friends to find out if they're really your friends. Give them some unbelievably great news and watch their behavior. Or tell them what you are about to do on some unbelievable level and watch their response. Now, don't get it twisted, because some of y'all like yes men. Your friend will also tell you the truth about yourself. When others will sit back and let you look stupid, let you do something crazy, let you crash. The friend gonna come along and say, hey, you got to do something real stupid. Let it go. Yeah, stop. Let's tell you know you was wrong, right? See, a friend is gonna keep it real with you, but they gonna love you and they gonna be there for you. The friend will get there and say, you started this fight, this some bull crap, you was wrong, but then they gonna scrap with you because they're not gonna let you get jumped. That's the friend. All the rest of that stuff, you better learn how to categorize and manage. But at the end of the day, I want to get something home to you. If I don't get anything else home, you can't get to that next level. You can't get to that thing that you say you want, that thing that you're claiming, if you're constantly focusing on the negative. What I can tell you is what you focus on, you're going to enter into your search engine, your brain, through the reticular activating system, the search protocol or the search criteria. And that's what your brain is going to deliver to you. Not only information that's going to reinvest in or reaffirm or revalidate or validate what it is you are focusing on, the negative, it's going to also turn that into a persistent behavior. If you're wondering why you're consistently doing the same thing, it's because you've given some significant focus to it. Don't focus on fighting it, because you're strengthening it. The more you focus on fighting something, the more you strengthen it, the more power you give it. Focus on the solution. Focus on being the opposite of whatever that is. Focus on thinking about and accomplishing the opposite of whatever that is. When you move towards that thing, because they exist on polar opposites, you automatically move away from it. You don't get over fear by fighting fear. You get over fear by embracing the idea of courage, by being willing to take some risks and just taking them, even if you feel fear. The more you do that, the more you move towards courage, the more you move away from fear. They don't exist in the same spectrum. The same thing with faith. You don't fight doubt, you feed faith. The more you feed faith, the stronger you grow, the more confidence you gain, the less you start worrying, the less anxiety you have, the less stress you have, the less problems you have. Why? Because you're focused on what you believe and know is possible instead of worrying about what you can't do. Feed the positive, starve the negative. Don't fight it. The more you fight it, the stronger it gets. Because every time you fight it and you can't get it to do what you want it to do, you become a little bit more helpless. You give it a little bit more power. You start saying, man, I did the best I could and I couldn't. You don't fight it. You go over here and you work on the thing that automatically eliminates it. See, I eliminate fear by becoming courageous, by stepping out, being bold, by standing on what I believe and what I want and what I'm going to do, no matter how silly it sounds to someone else. That's how you get it done. Stop focusing on those things. Make up in your mind that you're going to go out and you're going to do something exceptional, something extraordinary. Don't try to be the other person. You know, prime example, I have a brother who is, and a nephew who are both musical geniuses. You know, I come from a family that's, you know, pretty musical, period. You know, singers and players and all that stuff like that. I don't try to play in his world. That's his world. That's what he's gifted at. He's also gifted at basketball, but I try to play in that world with him. But he's pretty sweet in that too. But as a musician, as a drummer especially, but as a musician, as a producer, as a writer, this kid is unbelievable. And what I do is I celebrate him, I praise him for it, I let him know it. I've always done that as his older brother, and he's done the same with me. But I understand my strength. That's not my strength. And me trying to be like him is going to have me in an area where I'm feeling awkward. Now, could I go off in that? And if I just really totally set my mind into becoming good at what he does, could I? Yeah. I don't believe there's anything I can't do. But number one is, would I be functioning in my passion? Would I be able to give it what it takes to become as good as him? Probably not, because he's passionate about it. If he could just do it in his sleep, he would be doing it because that's what he's passionate about. With me, that's, you know, I'll do it when I got some time, but that's not what I'm passionate about. I like to hear it. I mean, you know, right? Oh man, that's a lot of stuff going in there. And the complexities of really putting good pieces together, you know, that's not where I'm at. I want to put a good book together. I want to put a good lecture together. I want to help somebody do something. I want to put a good business deal together. That's where I function at. And that's where I'm happy being at. And in dealing with people and engaging people and helping people feel better about themselves. That's where I'm at. We minister to the world, he and I both, but we do it differently. And I'm not trying to live in this world. Stop trying to be somebody else, or stop trying to grab something someone else has and function in the uniqueness of who you are. Be the best you can be. And then you will find that you are floating and living and surviving in rare air. Why? Because it's only one you. Nobody can do you like you. Nobody can touch a life like you. I operate in a world that's becoming saturated with people because it's a $1 billion industry. But I've had several people come in that I brought in to work with me to take the business to the next level. Every last one of them have said the same thing without consulting one another. Nobody's out there doing what you do right now. Nobody does it the way you do it. There's some beasts out there. I've acknowledged them. I've talked to them. I spent time with them. I sit down with them. There are some straight beasts, but nobody's doing what I'm doing. Like I'm good with that. I'm not trying to be them. I'm not trying to be Tony Robbins. I'm not trying to be Eric Thomas. I'm not trying to be Les Brown. I absolutely watch them and adore the way they do things, and I will go sit down and listen because they bring something to the table that I don't do the way they do it, and that's what they are and who they are, and I celebrate them. But what I do because it comes from within me. It's something I've been doing since a kid. I've just evolved in it. Find your passion. Feed your passion. Be the best you can be. And you will find a way to serve the world, and the world will pay you back with adoration, with compensation. and with security. That's the way life was meant to be. You don't have to have a problem being paid for doing something when you give people more value than what they're paying you. That's the ultimate business model. Deliver more value than you're asking for in compensation and make it work for the people who really truly need it, and you will never be out of business. Never, ever, ever. You start trying to do what other people do, operate in their realm, function in their realm, try to be like them and get a piece of what they got, and then you become a knockoff. And then everybody can not only get what you're giving from somewhere else, they can probably get it from someone else and it'd be better. So, with all that being said, look, I'm going to leave you with this. Get your focus on what you want. Get off of what you don't have. Get off what's going wrong. Get if it's your marriage, uh, be real in assessing what's there. Then determine what you want to replace that with. Then that's what you work on. You go after it. Stop focusing on she never talks to me or he never holds me or all that. Say, okay, this is what's wrong. How do I change it? How do I work on it? How do I make it better? And let me tell you something about relationships. It's important. In a relationship, if your focus is on what the other person is doing wrong, and it's not on what you can do to make the situation better, you've already lost. Because it's easy to sit up and look at something from your perspective in a relationship and sit up and say, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, they're handling me this way. And if you're not looking and saying, okay, what can I bring to the table? Okay, if I don't like this, how can I make it better? What am I bringing to the table? What incentive am I giving them to treat me the way I want to be treated? It should always be about what you're bringing to the table, what you're giving in every situation, but definitely in marriage. It should be about what I'm bringing to the table. Gary Thomas's book on the cover, it says, I've showed you the book before, sitting right behind me. On the cover of the book, Sacred Marriage, it says, what if God's design for marriage wasn't so much to make you happy as it was to make you holy? What if marriage was meant for you to learn sacrifice? What if marriage was the training ground for empathy? What if marriage was the training ground for unconditional love? What if marriage was a training ground for being willing to give more than what you're asking? What if? And that's how you have to engage anything you're going into life. You got to be willing to take something into the game if you want to bring something out of it. We keep trying to make withdrawals without making deposits. With that being said, I'm going to check out of here. Don't forget, if you want to take advantage of your free rapid change session as an individual, or if you want to take advantage of a business breakthrough session, a free business breakthrough session, all you got to do is the questionnaire for the rapid change session is there. Fill it out, email it to the email address that's there. If not, email that address and the support team will send you the questionnaire for the business breakthrough. Fill that out, get it back, and we'll schedule them. And what I'm telling you, it's been crazy, but I'm handling every last scheduled appointment. It's me. It's not somebody else sitting in for me. It's not any of the other coaches or trainers. It's me. It's one-on-one. We're going to talk down and what I'm promising in these sessions. You can see in the questionnaire what you get. But what I'm promising in this session is we're going to identify one thing that you absolutely want to get taken care of, and we're going to deal with it. You're going to leave changed. You're going to leave changed. You're going to leave with a new idea. We're going to work on that. If you work with me after that, that's fine. If you don't, you're going to still leave with something. That's the goal. We're going to get an idea of what you want, the thing you want the most, the outcome you want the most, and we're going to get you on the right path before you leave there. That, and like I said, I didn't expect that, and I don't know how long we're going to be able to do it because I'm handling it all, and there's a volume cap, obviously, of what I can do. And once we reach that cap, we will shut it down. Anything that comes in after the cap, between the time we get the cap and shut it down, we'll go on a waiting list, and we'll eventually get everybody taken care of, but obviously we'll have to stop it at that point. I'm definitely accomplishing what I wanted to accomplish with it. I'm excited about that. I'm hoping that it opens the doors to work with some people that I'm not currently working with in many ways. Whatever it is, I mean, if nothing else, this is a chance that you can invest in yourself, and it doesn't have to come out of your pocket, but you need to invest your time, your energy, your effort your expectations and your demands. Come along, let's talk about it. Let's find out what's going on. Let's deal with it. But whatever you do, stop focusing on the negative. Shift your focus to the thing that you want out of life and then work toward it. All the other stuff will take care of itself automatically. With that being said, I'm going to check out here. As I always say, I am going to down E. I encourage you to do the same thing. I'm out of here. Peace.